Welcome back, everyone, to another Downward Day. And boy, am I prepared to beat a dead horse on this fine edition of the Downward Diary, because I'm literally standing here at the back of a graveyard as the perfect symbolic representation of what the Star Wars franchise now means to me. And oh, look at all of you right now. I can hear what you're about to say. Emp, you just talked about Star Wars after a main channel video where you talked about Star Wars. Why are you continuing to beat this dead horse? Surely, all the blood and guts and soul that you could have possibly extracted out of it is out of it now. And you know what? Maybe for many of you out there, this video will be redundant. But sometimes redundancy is necessary, especially when certain people out there feel the need to run their mouths at me in response, even though it's obviously clear that they did not listen to anything I had to say. So yes, I do often feel the need to repeat myself when it becomes patently clear that there are several people out there bitching to me when they haven't even listened to what I had to say. So this rant is going to cover a topic that I kind of wanted to shy away from in the general telling of my discontent towards Star Wars. Today we're going to be talking about the oh-so-wonderful Star Wars fandom, of which I like to have thought that I was a part, but as time went on, the simple idea of being associated with any of these people became more and more embarrassing, to the point where I wouldn't want to touch any of these people with a 10-foot pole. But at the same time, I do have sympathy for what a lot of these people have had to sit through in the last 25 years. I myself am no stranger to the brunt, the absolute slog of 25 years of disappointing and underwhelming media to consume. So I get it. You know, it hasn't been easy being a Star Wars fan in the last 25 years. And part of me has always felt like picking on these people exclusively has sort of just been like punishing the victim even more. But sheesh, man, after a while, I don't know what else to say other than you're kind of bringing it on yourselves. You can only play the victim card for so long until you're actively sabotaging yourself. There comes a point when a fandom becomes so spineless and is on so much copium that you are the makers of your own ruin. At the end of the day, the content supplied only has to be good enough for it to be consumed. And my God, is the Star Wars fandom content with consuming an absolute pile of crap and calling it filet mignon. And ever since my impression of the overall series took a negative turn and I expressed those emotions publicly, there have always, without fail, been a bunch of Star Wars loving automatons coming out of the woodwork to tell me how much of an idiot I am for believing this. They act like I have some agenda that I want to sabotage Star Wars, as if the creators haven't done that enough already. As if I didn't care about the series or want the series to succeed as much as them. And every time I express even a hint of negativity towards the Star Wars brand, these people are lining up like military soldiers to complain and bitch at me with their nonsensical, incoherent diarrhea word salads on my timeline, in my replies, in my comment section. And they always attempt to speak to me with this extreme condescension as if I'm somehow enjoying the series wrong, that I'm the problem, that the hours and hours of absolute crap that Disney and the rest of the franchise has been putting out for the last 25 years, that all of that is just okay and that I'm the problem. I'm the one who doesn't understand what's going on, that I'm the one who needs to get better taste. And Jesus Christ, no matter how many times I tell these people that I'm through with Star Wars, that little kid, little baby Emp Lemon who grew up loving it, that kid is dead now and is never coming back, and that I will never enjoy the franchise again, every time, one of these people has to comment below and tell me, ooh, well, if only you watch the Clone Wars series, if only you read the books, then you'll enjoy the franchise. You're just doing it wrong. You're enjoying Star Wars wrong. And how dare you, how unreasonable of you to no longer want to engage with this dying, decaying franchise anymore. So today I am making this video addressing these people directly so that hopefully, maybe by some grace of God, they can get off my back and finally just let me go. Let me go enjoy anything else and stop trying to bitch at me about how it's my fault that I don't enjoy Star Wars anymore. So let's have a look at some examples, shall we? Some real-life examples in the field of the absolute putrid comments and responses I have to deal with on a regular basis for daring to say that Star Wars ain't quite the franchise it used to be. Idiot number 1. Emp, just shut up about Star Wars. We get it. It's different now, and you hate it. I can name 5 shows as good as the original trilogy, and the prequels aren't that bad either. You spent the Matrix vid complaining about Star Wars for no reason. Cut off 10 minutes of the Matrix vid. Well, first of all, buddy, I got news for you. If you don't understand the rhetorical purpose of including my disillusionment with Star Wars in the Matrix video, then maybe you are cut out to watch Star Wars. Maybe you'd be best watching a piece of media that doesn't really go into any sort of deep philosophical complexity. And maybe it's good that you seem to have such an affinity for TV and television, because it seems like you're completely lost about even the slightest bit of rhetorical structure that's anything more than just good guy beats up bad guy and saves the princess. Like, I'm sorry, but might as well rip off the Band-Aid here. Star Wars is not a complex series. Star Wars, while enjoyable by adults, is a lot more childlike than many of the other sci-fi franchises on the market. It's a lot more palatable to children because of its simplicity. I think Rich Evans of Red Letter Media once said that Star Wars is a limited franchise because there's not really that much they can tonally do with the characters, because quite frankly the themes presented in Star Wars are not complex. They're very simple. Simple enough for a child to understand. And while there's not anything inherently wrong with media appealing to both children and adults, it is somewhat of a limiting factor for the series to progress going forward. It is a limitation which I think many Star Wars fans are unwilling to admit. They think Star Wars belongs at the big kids table with the more esoteric series like Star Trek and Dune and Terminator and what have you. So for this internet commenter to sit here and tell me how to structure my own videos and tell me to just cut the Star Wars part out of the Matrix video with no actual understanding or appreciation for why it's even there in the first place, why that element is possibly necessary for the stories and themes I was trying to punctuate with that video about the decline of Hollywood, you're just revealing to me that 1, you are incapable of understanding even remotely complex story structure, or 2, you are so opposed to the idea of anyone criticizing your favorite little franchise that your brain just blocked it out and you didn't process anything I was saying in that part of the video, so it felt like a waste of time to you. He continues, you want corporate slop, sequel trilogy, Book of Boba Fett, and Kenobi. That's literally it. I hate all of them as much as you do. Meanwhile, take one look at the Clone Wars and tell me that ain't fire. See, this is exactly the type of stuff that leads me to believe these people just plugged in their keyboard and typed in a rancid supply without actually watching the video or listening to anything I had to say. At what point did I ever make any sort of judgment on the Clone Wars? I have not mentioned the series one time. I have not given a single public opinion on it. Not in the main channel video, not on Twitter, not on Downward Diary. Where are you getting this information from? You're just projecting. You're just projecting complete falsehoods over the nature of my argument because you somehow believe that I'm this guy who has it out for Star Wars and wants to tarnish the whole series. You're completely inventing this scenario where I somehow have a vendetta for the Clone Wars. I don't care about the Clone Wars. That's irrespective to the point. I saw a few episodes when I was a kid, and if I just so happened to watch any more of it, I'd be happy to weigh in with an opinion of its quality. But I'm not going to, because I'm done with Star Wars. This is what these people don't understand. I haven't seen the Clone Wars. I have seen these god-awful Disney sequels, and as a consequence of watching the sequels, I no longer want to engage with anything else in the franchise. Is that too difficult to wrap your head around? Oh man, and to put the absolute cherry on top of proving that this guy really knows what he's talking about, he says Revenge of the Sith and The Phantom Menace are both fairly good films. Attack of the Clones is mid. Wow, oh my god, would you look at that? Someone is actually a fan of The Phantom Menace. Hey everyone, this guy is the one person on Earth who liked The Phantom Menace. Let's all give him a huge round of applause. Congratulations for liking The Phantom Menace. It really strengthens the rest of your argument that you're the one who actually has good taste. I gotta say, liking The Phantom Menace and disliking Attack of the Clones, that's definitely a new take. I'll give you that one. That's a unique line of thinking. Sure, both of the films may deal with the same convoluted story, pacing issues, dialogue issues, blocking and cinematography issues, ugly over-reliance on CG issues, but hey, you like one and dislike the other. Congratulations for having a unique opinion, even though it makes zero sense whatsoever. Please regale me on more advice of how to enjoy Star Wars. You surely do, since you enjoy The Phantom Menace. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, the party is just getting started. Let's have a look at idiot reply number 2. I like Emp, but his opinion on Star Wars is genuinely terrible. If you think Star Wars is only movies, you need to watch, read, and play other Star Wars media, Lamau. This is the part I really struggle to understand. There's been a severe critical lapse in judgment for these people who justify the terrible quality of these new films by telling me to go read a book. Wow, geez, I don't know. It's almost like the series entirely exists because of the movies. But I guess it's my fault. I guess it's my fault for wanting the movies. The thing that Star Wars is based on to be good. Oh boy, here I go with my Zoomer attention span again. Woo-wee. But if I'm going to be forced to spend time, significant amounts of time, which is reasonable to expect while reading a book that's hundreds of pages long, I might want to engross myself in something a little bit more stimulating than a bunch of space wizards hitting each other with glowing sticks on some random planet. Like, sorry, I don't want to take the time out of my day reading about it when the entire premise of this franchise was entirely created and conceived for the cinema. Like, is it my fault, my Zoomer attention span, for maybe wanting to consume this type of media in a visual setting? And once again, this is just another textbook example of guy who doesn't watch the video and feels the need to ramble on with some rancid reply. These people just post this stuff to their 2 followers and think that I won't see it when you're directly replying to me. Oh, believe me, folks, I can see all of you. I can see all of you. So maybe try to keep these responses a little less brain dead. And don't waste your time and mine typing up an entire tirade when it's patently obvious that you didn't even watch the video you're responding to. Did all these people just miss? They just happen to be doing something else during the part of the video where I say that I don't care about the Star Wars TV shows. I don't care about the books, the novels. It doesn't make The Rise of Skywalker a good movie. It doesn't make The Last Jedi a good movie. It doesn't make the prequel trilogy a good trilogy. The fact of the matter is that the movies, the format of which the franchise is based, the number of good official movies in the trilogy are now a minority, a vast minority. The number of bad films now far outweighs the number of good. And I don't care how many books you can throw at me and tell me to read. It doesn't change the fact that in the fundamental format in which the Star Wars franchise is based, it is now a majority bad and a minority good. And if you really think that these supplemental, auxiliary forms of media are enough to tip the scales back in the good direction, then I can't help you. You have sunk too far deep into the pit of fandemonium and copium. Let's not lose sight. Let's not lose sight of which format of Star Wars media exists primarily in service of the others. And I'm telling you what, no one is tuning in to the movies because they really liked what they read in a book. This isn't a rhetorical which came first, the chicken or the egg. The movies absolutely came first, and it was everything else. The books, the toys, the video games, the TV shows that followed. The Star Wars movies are the trunk of the tree, and all this other external, extraneous crap, that's the books, that's the TV shows, that's the toy, that's the board games, that's whatever little stupid, nonsensical article you read on Wikipedia because of one stupid throwaway line that the actual screenwriters for the films, the content that actually matters in the franchise, just put in there as filler. And you bunch of sycophantic, blind fanboys, you spend an entire weekend writing up a 10,000-word synopsis of what this one little stupid throwaway character was in this one line of dialogue spoken by a highly paid celebrity that's actually earning the money to move the product of this series. You can't seriously expect me to believe that a few books are enough to undo the absolute failure that was the movie franchise. The movies that make up the trunk of the tree, they're rotting. They're rotting out. The tree is rotted out hollow. It's being killed and strangled out of life by a filthy parasite. And guess what's going to happen to the rest of all the stupid auxiliary supplementary media crap that's sitting on top of the tree when the trunk, the fundamental trunk of the tree, is rotted out and collapses? I just wonder what's going to happen. I'm sure that as Star Wars continues its 25-year slide into mediocrity, as it continues losing more and more relevance, failing and failing to capture new people to actually continue on the series for future generations, I'm sure that all of these books will be just as popular. I can't wait to be in the year 2050 and see Star Wars books still at the top of the New York Times bestseller list. Do you get what I'm trying to say now? Do ya? Or do I have to record another 3 videos talking about how I don't care about the books? It doesn't make the franchise good that books exist. No, it's okay, guys. Star Wars is good again because I read a book about the wonderful adventures of Ubu Badingding. My God, the mayor of Salvage City is back in town. Star Wars is saved because I read about Ubu Badingding in a stupid, glorified fan fiction. That definitely makes me no longer feel all the shame and humiliation that they brought back Emperor Palpatine for literally no reason other than that the screenwriters ran out of ideas and they had no plan for their $4 billion franchise. I should just read a book. I should have been reading books the whole time. Oh, and to rub a little bit of extra salt in the wound for you Star Wars book lovers out there. Have you ever heard anyone, any critic, anyone of note in any sort of literary circle actually saying any praises for these Star Wars books outside of the Star Wars fandom? Has a Star Wars book ever received any critical acclaim from someone who is not a Star Wars fan? Because there are surely non-Star Wars fans who enjoy the movies. But what about the books, huh? What about the books? Would any of these supposed masterpieces in literature have even an infinitesimal piece of meaning if it wasn't simultaneously attached to the big, bright Star Wars logo that people only know because of the movies? Would they have any shot in hell of standing on their own if it wasn't for that logo? Yes, let me rush to my local library and look in the section that says classics. Of Mice and Men, The Grapes of Wrath, The Old Man and the Sea, Charles Dickens, and, The Adventures of Ubu Badingding, literary masterpiece. Such a wonderful piece of writing, it doesn't even need the Star Wars brand to succeed. I'm not reading a glorified James Patterson book with Star Wars characters. No, it's a literary masterpiece that deserves to stand on its own and be viewed as great as something like The Great Gatsby, because it's a stupid Star Wars story about Ubu Badingding. Listen, I don't care if you still like Star Wars anymore. That's not my prerogative. But to me, the series is dead. It's been dead for a very long time now. Just let me go, okay? Let me go enjoy something else. I clearly don't like the series anymore based on what you've seen right here today. So let me go. Stop trying to lure me back in, saying, oh, I would enjoy the series if I read a book. Oh, The Phantom Menace isn't actually that bad. It's over. My enjoyment of Star Wars is over. Star Wars is dead to me. It is dead to me. No book, no TV show, no card game, no board game, no toy series, no Lego set, no video game is going to change that. It's not going to change that. Star Wars is dead to me. Star Wars is dead to me. So leave me alone. Just leave me alone, okay? I don't want to hear about your books. I don't want to hear about how The Phantom Menace is not that bad. It's over. Star Wars is over for me. I'm through with it. And I'm never coming back. I am never coming back. I will never be a Star Wars fan again. Have I repeated myself enough? Are you people listening to me? Can you listen to one thing I say? If you would spare 1 ounce of attention, listen to me by saying that I'm done with Star Wars and I'm never coming back. Nothing will make me come back. Star Wars is dead to me. It's done. It's finished. It's dead in the ground, in a grave, and it will never come back. So stop talking about it. Stop trying to say that I'm enjoying the series wrong because I'm not reading books. That it's somehow unreasonable for me to sit through 25 years of god-awful films. My entire life as a Star Wars fan. Awful movies. Movies that deserve to be in the trash. And you keep telling me that I should come back because of a book. Guess what I'm hearing? Guess all I'm hearing? Bark, bark, bark from you people. All you people do. Bark, bark, bark. All these little junior varsity complainers. When you don't know the best of it. You don't know what it takes to be as good at complaining as me. You don't know what it takes. Get back on the junior varsity bench where you belong and shut your mouth. You will never be as good of a complainer as I am. So just hang it up. Hang it up and go read your Star Wars books and watch your Star Wars TV shows. And if you so think about entering my domain with your stupid, pathetic attempts at complaining, you all had better be prepared to be humiliated, just like how I was sitting in that theater watching The Rise of Skywalker.